For the heat capacity lab, the supplies you'll need is a burner, a tub of ice, 2 beakers, 2 thermometers, one with 100 mils of water in it, the other one with 100 mils of oil in it. Okay, place the thermometers in the beaker, and we're gonna let them reach room temperature, and we're gonna record that number. You place the thermometer in there and you're trying to record room temperature, you'll look at the water and you're gonna record the room temperature, which is going to be at 21.5, and you'll record that on your lab paper. Okay, then you're gonna go ahead and do the same thing for room temperature for oil, and it should be this pretty much the same thing. This one is actually just showing right at 21. Okay, once you've recorded those numbers down on your lab paper, you're gonna go ahead and start your lab. So what you're gonna do next is you're gonna take the oil and you're going to put it on a hot plate. So we've got our starting temperature recorded. What we're gonna do next is we're going to keep it on the burner and we're gonna watch the thermometer and record how long it takes to reach 40 degrees. So we've started our timer and we're gonna go ahead and set it here and record how long it takes to get to 40 degrees. As you can see, for oil, the temperature is rising really, really quickly. We are almost at 40 degrees and we are now at 40 degrees. It took 35.9 seconds for it to reach 30 degrees. So you're gonna write that on your lab paper right there, how long it took. Our next step is we are now going to record the maximum temperature that oil got to. And you're gonna look at the thermometer, and as it's continuing to increase, you're gonna see that max temperature and you're gonna write it down. So the temperature looks like it's still slightly climbing. And we got all the way up to 43 before it started to go down. So what we're gonna do next is we're then gonna let the oil cool back down to 25 degrees, and then once it reaches 25 degrees, we're going to place it into our ice bath. Actually, I lied to you. It's going to 40 degrees, and then we're gonna place it in our ice bath, and then we're gonna time how long it takes to get to 25 degrees. So let me say that again. We're gonna let the temperature drop back down to 40 degrees, and then we're going to place it in the ice bath and see how long it takes for it to drop back down to 25 degrees. You can see now the oil thermometer is at 40 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and place it into the ice bath. Okay. And we're gonna let it sit there and record the temperature and see how long it takes for it to drop to 25 degrees. And I'm gonna get away from the Bunsen burner. All right. And you can see we're already below, we're almost to 30. So you can see how quickly oil's temperature rose and how quickly it is falling. And so we've only got 5 more degrees to go. Oops, my hand is warming it up, so I need to stop touching it. And as you can tell, if you hold the thermometer, the temperature of your hand can warm up the thermometer, so try to just find a good place to have it sit. And we are now at 25 degrees. And that took
1 minute and 28
1 minute and 28 seconds to get back to 25 degrees. So it took a little longer to cool down than it did to heat up. So we're gonna do the exact same steps with water. So we've already got our room temperature. we're going to go ahead and place water onto the burner, okay? And we are going to record how long it takes for water to get to 40 degrees. And by now, with the oil sitting on there, it would have already shot up to almost 30 degrees. So you can see that this is taking a little bit longer for it to heat up. And I have the hot plate up at a higher temperature, so we're kind of speeding up this process. Normally, it would take a little bit longer if you were in class. All right, so you can see we're only at 32. And it's also because we have a bigger beaker, so the water kind of sits flatter, closer to the actual heat, so it's heating up quicker. All right, we are at 40 degrees now.
It took 1 minute and 6 seconds.
It took 1 minute and 6 seconds. So about twice as long as it did for the oil. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to sit here and we're gonna record the maximum temperature that it gets. And I think I messed up on the oil for this one because I wasn't paying attention.
What?
Should have gotten higher. So water got all the way up to 46.5. The oil should have gotten hotter, but I wasn't recording the entire time. So that's where we kind of probably messed up on that one. Okay. Now we're gonna time it and see how long it takes. Once it gets back down to 40, we'll time it how long it takes in the ice bath as well. We are now at 40 degrees. We're going to place it in the ice bath and we are going to record how long it takes
To get to 25.
to get to 25. 1 minute and 30 seconds and we're still only at 35 degrees. So this is going to show you that it's going to take quite a while for water to cool down. So just by observing this process, when you're looking at heat capacity, you should know that any substance that it takes a longer time for it to heat up and a longer time for it to cool down means it has a high specific heat. If the substance heats up really quickly and cools down really quickly, that means it has a low specific heat. So if we are comparing water to oil, you're gonna know that water has a high specific heat because it's taking 2 to 3 times longer to cool down, meaning it's storing that heat very well and releasing it very slowly. Oil heats up quick, cools off quick, has a very low specific heat. That's why it's good for cooking. The oil, when it got to 40 degrees, so that you could see my little boo-boo, and the max temperature it actually got up to was 50 degrees, not 43. So I redid the oil from 40, took it off the burner to see how long it took because we're still waiting for water to get to 25 degrees, which we are almost there. We are almost there. We currently are now at 25 degrees and that took 5 minutes and 3 seconds to get to back down to 25 degrees. So you should have your lab paper and it'll be filled in somewhere like this with your initial temperature, the time it took to reach 40 degrees, the maximum temperature it reached, and how long it took to cool down to get back to 25. You will now go ahead and answer a few lab questions that are going to be based off of the data that you see written down right here.